Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Small Talk, Bigger Ideas. I am your host, Neil Lopez, and on this podcast, I interview fellow creatives, and we just chit chat and have small talk and talk about their passions as far as creativity goes, hoping that it inspires you to come up with a bigger idea or ideas. Today's guest is Andrew Warner, and Andrew is a creative in Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct.
He has his YouTube channel, and I'll let you introduce yourself to the viewers and the listeners.
Yes, hi, my name is Andrew. Like Neil was saying, I am a creator in Toronto, Canada. I've been doing basically YouTube videos pretty much for the most part of 1 year right now. I basically have the ambition to use my YouTube videos that I create just as a stepping stone to go ahead and get into the industry, create client work, and just do a whole bunch of documentaries and make films and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it with me for the most part.
Gotcha. And, the pressing question that I ask, because I'm interested in what's going on in the world with other folks, considering everything that's going on. Just interviewed the Shelf Man. He's in the Netherlands. You're in Canada. So how are things going on right now with everything that's going on with this pandemic and whatnot? Is it affecting your creativity, or things getting back to normal? How has it been this past several months?
For the past several months or so, it's been very on and off. In the early stages, obviously, it was a lot more difficult because it was new and fresh back in March when it really hit a lot of us. And so around that time when there was a lot of uncertainty, and there still is uncertainty right now, but when there was like more uncertainty at that time, it was really draining on my creativity. Like I just had absolutely zero energy to actually want to create something. No ideas were flowing. Anything that I would create I basically would just think is this trash. So that's how it was in the early stages. But over the last couple of months or so, it's been actually getting better. I'm getting more into the flow of being creative and doing a lot more creative stuff. Clearly not as much as I want to at this point, but it's just a work in progress for me right now. Right.
I kind of feel the same way. Things are getting back to whatever normal that we were at beforehand. Yeah. So, not to get into politics, but I really think depending on who wins the election here, it's either going to get better or severely worse. So I'm just hoping for the best. Take it day by day. That's all we can do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So let's talk about your channel, and go ahead and, give the listeners and the viewers your channel so they can find you, and just tell them a little bit more in detail what your channel is about. You did mention, some creativity things and like short films and stuff like that.
So my channel is The Andrew Warner. On my channel, I basically do just like a lot of different creative things, like a lot of short stories I do. I do some personal development type of stuff, just like stuff that's very different for the most part than you typically see on a lot of other videos that people make on YouTube.
Right. And I like the video. I hate to compare you to somebody else because you are who you are, but that Matt Diavella style that you were doing, I love it, man. It's creative, and I love that. I tried it. I think I sucked at doing that video. I think it was about being burned out. I can't remember now. It's been a few weeks, but I like that style of content.
But that video that you did a couple of weeks ago, Neil, honestly, I love that video. Like, I honestly love that video a lot.
It was different, and it was so cheesy. But I figured, hey, do something other besides a tech review or talk about a camera. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And like I said, I've been doing this for roughly about a year, pretty much right now. So, and that comparison is something that a lot of people recently have actually been compared me to, and it's not like I don't want the comparison, because Matt is his own person. I don't want to be seen as trying to copy him and copy his stuff, but the type of videos that I make, that's just the type of videos that works for me. at this present moment is just what I really vibe with. I can't really get into making like tech videos and making comparison videos like that because I just don't have that same type of passion. And
Right.
I don't have that, and I don't have the type of knowledge as of yet to really talk camera talk and stuff like that.
Right.
To make it believable.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I feel like I've felt into the typical realm of things, camera reviews, gear recommendations. So I definitely want to change the dynamic up, but I like it because a lot of people can't pull that off, and your cadence when you do that type of content is really, really good. And every now and again, I may try it again, but it's not something that I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to keep on doing that. But maybe some more vlogging and stuff like that. I guess once, I mean, things are pretty much back to normal now, I would say, or at least churning that way. So enough about me and that. What made you want to start your YouTube channel? I mean, that's probably a question that many people would think to ask and want to know, because there's a lot of people that may think YouTube is too saturated, their opinion doesn't matter, and I try to tell everyone that it does. Perspectives are always a good thing.
Now, the thing is, like, I actually had no intentions of actually starting a YouTube channel. Like I said earlier, like I wanted to basically learn how to do filmmaking, how to make films, and get into that realm of making films and doing client work and stuff like that. But I figured that YouTube, for the moment, would be a good learning place for me just to learn the ins and outs of how to put together like a little short film, like a 5-10 minute film or so. Just basically how to structure it. And how I actually got into this whole thing is just basically just by fluke. I happened to be, back in 2018, I happened just to be scrolling on Instagram, just was checking up people's stories and stuff like that, and I came across a creator, Jesse Driftwood, who does like a lot of stories, Instagram stories, and I checked out a couple of his stories, and then was interested in his stories, and actually I tried to copy some of his stuff and failed miserably.
Yeah.
But after doing that, I found out he had a YouTube channel, and then I found other creators like Peter McKinnon, a whole bunch of other people, and then I said to myself, you know what? I can possibly do this same thing that they're doing. All I just need to do is try, and just give it a good shot. And that's exactly what I did. And so far, I'm 1 year into it. So it's been an interesting 1 year so far.
Right, and they make it look so easy, and it's not.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have no clue. I just sit in front of the camera, I do basic stuff, and it's like their transitions and their warps, and I'm like,
Yep.
One day, for sure. But I had a question on my mind I was going to ask you.
But how about yourself? Like, what's your story? Like, I don't know. I don't really know your story fully.
Oh, okay. So
how did you get started?
I started YouTube about took a 9-month break, did it for 4 months, been back for about 4 months. So close to a year and a half ago, I started YouTube.
Okay.
And it was just going to be vlogs, basically. I was doing the same vlog thing that everyone was doing, and I basically did it for about 3 months. And I had some personal issues arise, breakup, relationship, crap. So that kind of deterred my mental focus from that. Took a 9-month hiatus, if you will. So I came back about 4 months ago, approaching 4 months ago, and just decided, well, I want to do this. I have a lot of different gear that that is budget conscious, and I want to basically share that. And it was, kind of newer stuff because I was still acquiring gear. And I was like, well, let's start up YouTube again. And I've actually been growing pretty good, which is
oh yeah
yeah, which is pretty awesome. I mean, and now it's like, oh, I want more, because it's like you see a video maybe do 1,000 views, and then this one does 3,000, and this one only does 300, and you're like, why? So I don't have the YouTube algorithm figured out yet. But my whole thing is a lot of people get on YouTube for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. I think first and foremost, you should be sharing your passion, sharing your thoughts, sharing your knowledge. People consume value. And that's, I think, at the end of every day is what's most important. And it doesn't matter if you don't get to 1,000 or 1,000,000 people, as long as you resonate with one and it helps one. For me, that's good enough. And it's just fun now at this point. I think I'm starting to become more comfortable on camera. I'm trying to be funny. Or, sometimes I do little skits or add little pieces in and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's just fun for me right now. It's definitely not a revenue source by any means. And when I was saying people getting into YouTube for the wrong reasons, I've made like $17 since I've been monetized, and that's been a month. So like seriously, if you're thinking about getting into YouTube for money, don't, because it's not going to happen right off the bat.
Definitely not off the bat.
But for me, getting monetized was just kind of like a milestone. Now I want to move onward to building my audience and having my thoughts shared to them and maybe helping people. Yeah. So that's really the objective for me. So as far as what I'm doing right now, some YouTube, I'm starting to really dive into weddings because I've been doing photography. I'm a photographer for the past 8 months. But now I'm trying to get back into video, and I've been able to get hooked up with a company to do some contract work. So I have a plan for 2021. I'm going to put together hopefully a really nice demo reel and start booking a lot of my own jobs. So that's my plan, but I'm just trying to make it to the end of the year. That's all I need to do. Like most of us,
And what you said about having that 2021 plan is interesting, because that's the step that I want to take. Ultimately, is just to start, basically getting more client work, doing client work on the side, and taking it more seriously, because I feel doing that is just gonna hone my skills even more, but also get paid at the same time. But It's just a process. I'm just not really sure exactly how to start, where to start at this moment, because YouTube right now is just very time consuming, taking up a lot of time, and then I work a day job as well. So it's just a matter, I guess, of prioritizing to see what to do first. So I'm just trying to figure out that next step. Hopefully for 2021 is when I'm going to be doing like some client work, hopefully. So that's my goal. Yeah, hopefully.
It's hard to do YouTube. I think, again, a lot of folks don't understand the time it takes to put into a video, making a good video, and hopefully, someone will watch it. I have the luxury to be doing enough freelance work to make it, but my plan for 2021 is not just make it and, to actually obviously generate more income on YouTube, of course, whether that's selling my digital products or whatnot. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough, especially having a full-time job. And when I started YouTube, I had a full-time job, so I didn't put out very many, videos, whatnot. But so I'm in a better place now that I can do that. But yeah, that's it's always good to have goals, obviously, and to have plans. Definitely. And at least if we try to execute them, then we can say we tried. It may not happen right away when we want it to, but it will happen.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, but what I realized too, being a creator, I guess if you will, is we kind of touched base, I think, a while ago, and then I got back on Twitter. And that's how we've been communicating. And like, you're the man on Twitter. It's like a low-hanging fruit I didn't even know about. It's like you tweet something and people like it. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? So that's how I've been, hooking up to do these podcasts through Twitter. Like, Twitter's a low-hanging fruit, you guys, for creators. I think any creator, no matter what you do, art, photography, videography, you should be on there. I mean, you seem to get a good response when you tweet.
Well, the thing is about Twitter, interesting story about Twitter. So a little bit about my backstory. I was on Twitter back in 2010, and I was in a completely different industry. I was in content marketing and digital marketing. I was in that world, and I was doing that for like a couple of years. I got off of Twitter because I got off of Twitter in 2012 because everything was the same and I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I was off of Twitter completely from 2012 until April 2019. Got back in April 2019, and then it was just like, well, I want to pursue this other path of filmmaking here, and so I just needed to do what I needed to do best and just try to make connections. So I was just making a lot of connections with a lot of people, trying to understand filmmaking, because I was a novice and I'm still a novice, but I was even more of a novice at the time. And just making a whole bunch of connections with people, building rapport with a whole bunch of people, and basically that's how it is. So you saying that, you know, I might put out a tweet or something and it gets like a response or whatever, that doesn't happen. It gets
several responses.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
Dude,
like
I put out a tweet and I may get like 1, 2, 3, and that's from one of you or the Shelfman and one other random person. I'm like, But, you know, I haven't been back on there that long, and I don't tweet that much. I guess I live more on Instagram and stuff like that. But I'm definitely, I need to dive into the platform because I like the talk amongst the creators there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I like the conversations that are had. So, you know, I used to always think.
The conversations are the best by far out of every single platform. Instagram, Facebook. Well, Facebook is good in terms of some groups and whatnot, but Twitter is basically where it is, where everybody is. So it's just
it's like real engagement. You know, it's not just one. It's not just a post and then one comment and then that person goes away. It's like steady engagement, which is cool. I really like that. For sure. So the work that you're looking to do, your plan for 2021, are you looking to do more like short film or corporate work? Like, what's your kind of idea of the niche that you want to fall into? And more specifically, why?
Well, what I want to do primarily is to do like a lot of, I want to do documentaries. I want to be able to create the type of content that's just really meaningful and has a meaning, because everybody has a story, but not everybody has the ability to have their story told. And I want to be able to share people's stories through making documentaries and short films and stuff like that. For the most part, the short films that I'm making right now is just basically myself in it. But
they're good though. They're so good. I like them.
Thank you. But I want to expand from that and involve like a lot more other people, and then just basically do more documentary type of work. Because like I said, like everybody has a story. Not everybody has the ability to have their story told and have their story shared. So that's going to be something that I'm going to be looking into for 2021. I've already talked to a couple of people who wouldn't mind me making a documentary for them. So I am trying to get that in the works. So that's pretty much going to be my plan for it. Yeah, that's pretty much going to be my plan for 2021, just to create a lot more personal projects like that, and hopefully be able to connect and communicate with like non-for-profits or something like that, and then be able to make content for them through client work, basically, so.
Right, and then maybe if you're doing something freelance for like a person, the Vice Network or Netflix will pick it up and send you a fat check. That would be awesome, right?
Yeah. Not turning that down.
Right.
So how are you liking the S1 now? Because I'm seeing.
Yeah, are we still rolling? We're rolling on your end. Okay, we'll talk about the S1 because that's the next question I was going to ask you. What did you think about all these cameras? Let me tell you something. And Sean Brooks, let me tell you something in case you see this. I love my S1. I do. I really do. I've used it for a couple of videos.
Sean is not going to like this. Sean is not going to like that.
No, he's not going to like it. Sorry, Sean. he has this love affair with Fuji, but it's okay. It's okay. We all like what we like.
But mind you, that love affair is only recent because he was just on the Panasonic train recently, right?
Yeah, you were on Panasonic, Sean, so don't be acting all new, bro.
Don't know,
I mean,
man.
seriously.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. You know how somebody gets excited about a new relationship and then a few months later they're like, oh, worst ever. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, no, but seriously, I like my S1. It is good. The autofocus with photo, I've taken 2 sessions. I've done 2 photo sessions. Is perfect. It's fine. It locks onto the eye. Video, yeah, so. Right now, I have it on autofocus, and it's fine. And a lot of times, people don't understand, and I've explained this time and time again, and me and Sean talked about it too. As a videographer, you should be using manual focus if you want to have better shots, nail your shots in focus. It helps you with your composition, et cetera, et cetera. And like we talked about before, you use manual focus as well.
Oh, yeah. Everything's
It's
manual.
It's just a way to control what's going on versus having the camera do it for you.
Yeah.
Because especially I've realized that with weddings, critical shots, you can't miss them. You can't redo them, and you don't want to keep asking people to do the same thing in redundancy because you're relying on your camera to do the job that you're supposed to be doing. Anyways, I do like the S1. I want to get an S5 next, and then hopefully Panasonic has said the new autofocus firmware update and the way that it does that's on the S5 is coming across all their S series cameras. So that would be awesome. But to sum it up, yes, I love my S1. I've been recording in H-Log because unfortunately I didn't get the V-Log upgrade. But the H-Log is really good. I mean, it's crispy, and it's probably mostly to do, well, it's both the camera and the lens. The Sigma lenses are really sharp. I just have the 35 for it right now. So when I get the S5, I'll have a 20 to 60, and then I'll get a couple more lenses, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I love it. I like it. It feels good in my hands. It feels better than my EOS R that I had, my X-T4. And, to each their own. Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
And that's what me and him talked about. So what do you think about all these new cameras coming out? If anything else, 2020 has brought us some great choices for cameras.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think personally, to each their own, like you said. Everybody has their own preference in terms of whatever camera they want that they want to use, that they lust over. That's all fine. Mm-hmm. But it's just a matter of what you can do with the camera and the type of work that you put out with the camera. Whether it's the S1, whether it's the X-T4, whether it's R5, whether it's whatever. Each of them has their own benefits that's better than the others, but they also have their own flaws as well. So I think it's just basically whatever camera that you have that you're able to use and being able to get the best possible work that you can from it.
Right. Exactly. I agree. And there's no such thing as a perfect camera. Although I think Panasonic could have the perfect camera if they would fix the autofocus. And their whole argument is they don't want to put that layer in front of the sensor. They said it degrades picture quality, but everyone else is doing, that anyway. So I mean, like, really, how much can it do? And I believe their cameras are just built tough. They have excellent codecs. I mean, they've had excellent codecs since the GH5. I mean, that's still a relevant camera.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people that do documentary work and short film work still use that camera to this day. And I really think if the autofocus wasn't an issue for most people, they would have the perfect cameras. They have 4K, they have 6K. My camera actually is 4K, and it will do a 6K, kind of like the 1DX Mark II did with the Motion JPEG. It will do 6K. I won't use that. I think the 4K looks great on it, even at the lower bit rate, because I don't have the V-Log upgrade yet to do 400 megabits or whatever it is, the all-eye like compression and codec in it. Anyways, they could have the perfect camera, I think, if it wasn't for the autofocus lack.
And especially if they come out with the GH6.
G6, yeah.
Hopefully Panasonic. I mean, come on. It's been years.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. And that small sensor, I think it's supposed to still be micro four thirds. Like, They would really shock people if they came out with that in 4K, better autofocus. Yes, it's still micro four thirds, but if they were able to get the autofocus right and maybe throw in 4K 120 at least, I won't say 6K because I don't know if you can get that from that small sensor. But they would really be rocking onto something, especially if they priced it around $2,000, I think.
And then a lot of people will then want to jump back on the Panasonic ship because they're changing the game. Because like you said, the GH5 is already a beast. Still one of the best cameras out there.
Right.
So
I bet you Sean Brooks would want to jump back on the ship.
Sean is going to jump back as soon as the announcement comes down for the Panasonic GH6. Sean is going to come back. He's going to go right back. Yeah. He's going to be like, exactly. Panty gang.
Yeah. All right, Sean, we'll leave you alone, man. We're just messing around because we're all mutual friends. Sean Brooks was on the first episode of the podcast, but yeah, we're messing with him. But yeah, good stuff. Maybe he'll see this and he'll be like, whatever, because he came on the S1 video and he was like, I just came here to say boo, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So I got to give him some crap for it right now. But yeah. So out of all the new cameras that have debuted, which one excites you, if any? Like if you were able and wanting to get a camera right now, maybe between the A7S3, the R5, the R6, or the Panasonic S5, maybe, because you're using Panasonic now. Out of those cameras, which one would you probably get? Just I'd like your perspective and why.
Realistically, I probably, if I'm doing a lot of research and hearing just a lot of chatter on Twitter and stuff like that, the A7S3 is looking kind of really good.
I ain't gonna lie, I kind of want one of those too.
It's looking kind of really good. Like Sony cameras in general are just really, really, really amazing.
Right.
And if I had the choice, I that might be the one that I choose if I had the choice. No disrespect to what Panasonic has right now and what they're what they have right now, but
right. But I mean, it's a filmmaker's camera.
Yeah.
It really is, and for what you do, it would make total sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not brand loyal really anyway right now. So
me either. I've already established I'm a camera whore. It's okay. It's totally fine. I'm good.
So I mean, it's like the Sony A7S3. That would probably be the camera that I would really want to have. Of course, a lot of people have been pre-ordering it, and then some of them have already had their orders, and some of them, unfortunately, are on the backlist and might not get the order for a couple of months. So it's just a matter of, this and that. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be my choice if I had a choice. If I had the funds right now, that's probably is going to be the camera that I would actually get at this very moment. How about yourself?
Right.
I mean, other than the S1 HD.
I ain't gonna lie. If I had the funds and the availability, I would. I'm probably going to get an S5 in the next few weeks. I'm saying 2 to 3 weeks. And honestly, I think if I had to make a decision right now, not that I'm super vested into Panasonic, but I want to give Panasonic a fair shot, especially if they do a massive firmware update at the end of this year. And I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the S5. So right now, at $2,400 for the Panasonic S5 plus the 20 to 60, and I got the 35, I would like to get that kit and get a 28 to 70 Sigma to swap in between them, or if I can afford it, as well as the 14 to 24. And I want to rock with that for at least a solid year. And maybe by then, I'll look at Sony stuff. You know, because the A7 IV will be out probably Q3 of next year. I'm going to do a video about that as far as rumors, even though I got ate up in my last rumor video about Sony for some reason. And the A7S III looks mighty attractive, but I'm sitting here thinking, you got to stop having gas, Neil. Gear acquisition syndrome. Get some stuff and deal with it. You know what I mean? And not really deal with it because it's more than capable stuff. What I need to do is start perfecting my craft instead of worrying about getting every new camera that comes out.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I remember back when Blackmagic was releasing the 6K. The Pocket Cinema 6K. Everybody was on that. I was really interested in trying to get that camera, or possibly get the 4K, because they significantly reduced the 4K. But I had just gotten the camera that I'm using right now, the G7, and it's not a bad camera. It's meeting my needs right now. And I basically want to be in a position where I learn everything I can about a camera before I move on to something else, because otherwise I'm not really getting enough value and enough time with trying to learn the nuances of the camera that I have. So I'm basically going to be rocking with this G7 until at least until sometime next year, until I decide the next step in which I'm going to try to upgrade. And I'm not. I don't know what I'm going to upgrade to at that point. It might be the XT4. It might not be. It might be the S1.
Oh Lord, no, Fuji. I'm kidding.
It might not be. It might not be. But
no. And it's whatever camera you feel is going to work best for you.
Yeah.
And that's really all it boils down to. It doesn't matter what anyone else has. It doesn't matter what you think you should buy because someone has it. It's like whatever you think is going to work best for you. And for me, I've already seen the quality that came out of the S1. That's why I got it, because a friend of mine has both the S1 and the S1H. And I'm liking what I see about the S5. I want to get two kits that can match each other. And so what if I have to manual focus? Okay, I'm committed to perfecting that skill.
Yeah.
Because I think overall, like you said, if you focus and work on your skills and learn your camera like the back of your hand, it's going to make you better, period.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't think you can go wrong, but don't get me wrong. Late next year, I still may look at a Sony. You know, and it depends. It depends. I don't know, because I mean, between the S5, especially when they start to do the 5.9K RAW over HDMI, like yes, 6K is overkill, but you can take that 6K image and downsample it to 4K. This actually does 6K too, not the same kind of raw capability, but a really nice 4K. Like, what more do I need? You know? And if I thought to myself, well, get an A7S III just because you can, well, it's still just 4K. Yes, it's 4K 120, but come on. You know? For what I'm doing, the deliverables that I will be doing, because I plan on shooting a bunch of weddings next year, I hope. I don't need all that.
And for myself, I don't even shoot 120. I never shot 120 in my life, really. So what do I need with 120 right now?
Right. If you don't have it, you don't need it, right? Yeah, it's like a friend of mine I was talking to the other day. He was like, "Bro, I need that 4K 120." I said, "Why?" He has a Sony A7 III. He's like, "Because it's 4K," and I'm like, "You don't need it. You've been rocking with the A7 III." Doing 120 and 1080, and it looks like butter. Why do you need it? You don't. You just want it. There's a difference. So, yeah, I definitely need to do an episode about having gear acquisition syndrome, because I think a lot of people, between that and FOMO, I think a lot of people have that issue. So.
Oh yeah, it goes hand in hand pretty much, right? Everybody is going to be. Making a video when a new camera drops or a new gear drops or whatever else, and then it's like, well, the video of this item is just so nice. I want to have this right now, right? So, but then
and I think a lot of it's trying to keep up with the Joneses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I realized a long time ago, I'm not going to keep up with these big YouTubers. You know, because a lot of people don't understand. They're not buying this stuff. It's given to them.
Yep.
So, of course, they can have every camera from every manufacturer known. And that's okay because they've worked for that. Yeah. They've worked up to that point to be able to afford those opportunities. You know, kudos to them. Hopefully one day we can get there. But for now, I think as us small creators, we should be focusing on our art. You know what I mean? In our craft. And that's really the plan for me. Yeah. You know, I don't want to be a huge YouTuber with, don't get me wrong, I'd like to have that silver plaque one day. But it may be a few years.
It's coming soon, man. It's coming soon. You're growing quick, man. It's coming soon.
Right. I hope. But as far as having 1 million subscribers and being that YouTube superstar, no, I just want to make a good living and doing something that I'm passionate about. Yeah. That's it. You know, YouTube, I want to be supplemental fun.
Yeah. And it should be fun as well, right? And mm-hmm. when it's not fun, then you're just working. I know it's going to sound counterintuitive, but you're just working too hard and taking it too seriously when it's no longer fun. So that's what I try to do as much as I can. Just try to make it as fun as I can and not take it too seriously because I know, I'm not making my money from YouTube at this moment. So why do I need to mm-hmm. stress so much about it if, this video gets this amount of views or I have this much subscribers or not? It's just fun for me right now. I'm just learning. So that's basically what I'm doing.
Right. And I'm trying to do the same thing and not look at the numbers so much because at the end of the day, that really doesn't matter as much as providing value, entertainment, whatever you're trying to do, whatever your objective is for YouTube, I think is more important. So really, if I could say anything, just have fun doing what you do, And hopefully whatever you're sharing helps someone, and I'm sure it does. People's voices and opinions matter. If that's not evident, especially with everything else that's going on. But from a creative standpoint, it still makes sense from that standpoint too, for the creative standpoint, that it does matter.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, it's very difficult to not look at the numbers on YouTube because it's just thrown in your face so much. But you have to just try your best to just ignore it and just keep on focusing on just making the best content you possibly can make and the best content that's enjoyable for you to make as well. At the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Right. Exactly. Boom. There it is. Yep. So, as far as getting gear, doing YouTube, we've covered that today, and hopefully it gave you guys some perspective if you're looking to start a channel, if you're perplexed on what type of camera you should get, basically bottom line, get what you think is going to work best for you. Think about your budget. Don't go crazy. Don't go broke doing it. It's a marathon, not a race. So think about it in that perspective. But Andrew, thank you so much for being on. I know we just freestyled it today. Didn't really have any talking points, but it's always good to talk to another creator.
Thank you so much for having me on here. It was a really good time.
Yeah, I had a good time too. So again, the Andrew Warner on YouTube, correct?
Yes, correct.
And then on Twitter, because you're the man on there, so I need people to be
same handle on everything. IG, Twitter, YouTube, the Andrew Warner.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate it, man. All the way from Canada, Andrew Warner. Go check out his social medias. Very cool guy. I really appreciate you being on today, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. And thank you guys for checking out this episode of the Small Talk Bigger Ideas podcast. And we'll see you on the next one.